Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And we have just a phenomenal show for you today, and it's actually worldwide. So we've got a great guest for you today, and his name is Simon Calderbank, and he has a website, and he is all about positive mindset coaching, working with people to recognize and to understand that it's how you decide that you're going to be is ultimately how it's going to work for you. And I need to double check something real quick, young man. And to make sure that I'm doing this correctly, I am, and good. Okay. Simon, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm really well, Kevin. That's a lovely welcome. And I always love the start of your show when you say, hey, that's me. I love it. It just makes me smile and takes me back to my childhood. So thank you for that.
Well, you're more than welcome. I picked that up from years ago, and I've used it off and on from time to time. But I just love the opening that we do and we've put together because it fits you like an absolute T. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, it does. I agree.
Because you, at one point in your life years ago, were concerned about who you are and why you're here. And I think everybody has that conversation with themselves at one point in time. But tell us about that and how it showed up in your life.
I suppose I've had that conversation probably multiple times throughout my life. I think as you go through the world, you always question why you're here, what you're doing here, what your purpose is. And I think everybody has a sort of a key tipping point. And I think that key tipping point then gives you dilemmas or decisions to make. And my key tipping point was, God, I've had several, but the one that really springs to mind, it's relevant to where I am now, is when I was told I might have cancer. And cancer in the sinuses. And I suppose when your business is called Big Nose, yes, that was my reaction. I just laughed. I just blurted out laughing, and poor consultant looked at me and said, yeah, people can react very differently and very oddly sometimes when they hear the news. I said, no, it's not because I might have cancer. My business is called Big Nose. Of all the places, the irony of having a tumor in your nose is not lost on me. And it just literally washed over the poor man's head. So, yeah, that was my tipping point. And thankfully, it wasn't malignant. It was a benign. So, but what it gave me was time to really assess who I was, where I was, why I was, how I was showing up. And you know, when you get time to reflect, and I mean, I had time. I was sort of told that I would need at least 8 to 10 weeks recuperation. Even though nothing was wrong, I hadn't been aware of what had gone on inside here in terms of the surgery. So I had plenty of time to think. I don't think I've ever had that much time to take a step back and really reassess everything. So that's what I did. And I was a business development consultant. I've been in sales and marketing pretty much all my life. So the work I did for myself, my own business, was business development, relationship building, basically helping other people to make lots of money. And yeah, I just thought there's got to be more to life than this. So I just took time out, no choice, thought a lot, read a lot, thought some more, sought feedback, did 360 feedback sessions with wife, now ex-wife, family, colleagues, and realized that my sort of vocation was not business development. It was professional and personal development. And when you look back and think all the things that I really enjoyed was what made people who they were, what made people tick, how they behaved, what they stood for. I was always really value centric for years and years and years. And and very customer centric. And I suppose the wheel just turned in a direction that made me want to actually help people to help themselves. If they wanted to make money from that decision, that was great. But I didn't want to be the person that was the seller. I like helping people buy, but I just thought there's more to life than this. So I looked in the mirror. Did I like what I saw? Kind of. So I decided to apply, I suppose, my own treatment on myself first to sort of see if it worked. Boy, it was like a revelation. It was like the sun poured in, the light shone out, and I realized that that's what I was meant to do, was to help people to discover who they really were, what made them tick, and how they could answer those questions that had always laid, I suppose, unanswered in me for decades. You know, the real sort of purpose about why we get out of bed in the morning, what drives us, what motivates us. And sometimes it takes a kick up the arse or a tumor in your nose to make you realize what's important. So that was my sort of tipping point to get to where I am now, which is a positive leadership mindset coach. And I'm so pleased that I had that conversation that day in that surgery.
And by the way, so am I. And so are a lot of people that have worked with you over the years. And by the way, I want to make sure that everybody knows, if you are listening to this live right now, you can go to the comment section and you can put in a comment, and we will present that to Simon. If it's a question, that's great. If it's just an affirmation of the man that he is, that's even better. And so, and by the way, Simon, I have got to do this.
Oh, no.
And because I just learned this today, and this is coming from Samuel, and I can't pronounce his last name, but that's okay. He is in, just say that again.
Nyandika.
Oh, thank you. Nyandika. And he is in Kenya. And he runs a business, not a business. He runs kind of a nonprofit, and he feeds kids. Brilliant. And he works together to do, it's just brilliant, the work that he does. He has come here and he said how much he enjoys the show, and he has never said anything. We had to do research on him to find out what he does in Kenya and the people that he helps. And there were lots and lots of children that he feeds every day, and things like that. So I just wanted to acknowledge that he's here and he believes in what we are doing, and conversations like this, that the whole village may be listening to this conversation between you and I, and it will spark something great for him. So I wanted to acknowledge him. I hope you don't mind.
No, respect, Samuel. Keep doing what you do.
That's exactly right. And so you are doing what you do, and you're helping people understand. I got to ask you, why do you think it is that it seems to me that everybody has this moment in time where they say, why am I here? What am I here to do? And you're a man of service. You've always been of service. Everything you did, even when you were a business development guy, that's being of service to somebody, because you're helping them make money and to develop their business. Why do you think it is that so many people have to struggle with the concept of finding out who you really are?
Maybe they're frightened about what they might find.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah, it certainly, we go through life and we are sort of conditioned, or we allow ourselves to be conditioned that we have to do certain things in a certain way, particularly, I suppose, men. If I use my own experience, that we have to behave in a certain way. And I think and we're busy, the world demands that we have to be busy. There's lots of pressures, there's lots of messaging, lots of expectations. And it's only when you get time to stop. And that's quite rare. When people, in the UK, it's very much, we work hard, we play hard, and then we take holidays and relax, and then we need a holiday when we get back from a holiday. So there's never really a moment where people take time out to actually think and reflect on what they do, why they do it, how they do it, who they serve. And those 8 to 9 weeks really were game changing for me, game enhancing, because it made me realize that, yeah, I'd had a good life. I'd enjoyed what I'd done, but I was just on a hamster wheel that was going nowhere. And I decided that wasn't enough. I wanted to do more. I wanted to leave a really powerful legacy for, I think, for the people that I was serving, also my family. And at the time, my boy was, what would he have been? 7? Yeah, 7 years old. My daughter was 3.5, 4. And you look at them and think, you're the reason, why I'm here. I'm here to serve you. You're my key servant. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that they looked up to me when they were older. And they may have had a few like, oh God, Dad, not again, or you're embarrassing, or you're this, you're that, standard. But really to say, well done, Dad, well done for the person that you became. And they keep me grounded. And if they ever give me any critique, obviously that really, it hurts, because it means that I'm not serving them as well as I can do or should do. And their feedback that's my barometer. So when they do give me, I suppose, constructive feedback, and they have done, and I encourage that with them, it really does make me think and take stock, and then I act upon it. I always act upon the things that they share with me, because if I can please them and make them proud and make them happy and make them fulfilled, that's the first stage. If I can't look after the people that look up to me, I've got no chance of helping other people. So for me, they're my benchmark. And yeah, they're quite, how can I put this they're quite comfortable to give me the feedback that I need and require, because people say, yeah, but you're a coach. So I've still got habits and behaviors that I might perhaps not be too comfortable with. And yes, I can adapt and adopt new habits and behaviors, because obviously I understand how it works and how to apply that. But it still doesn't mean that every now and then something will trigger me like it triggers other people, and I will go back to another version of myself. The thing is, now I can jump away from that version really quickly, whereas the old version of me would stay rooted in that behavior, and I could stay there for hours, sometimes a couple of days. So what I've learned, from great teachers and great mentors is that I suppose you have the choice about how you respond to every situation. And I think what I've learned is that I now respond in a way that doesn't just serve me well, but it serves the people that I surround myself with well. And that's the best thing. That's the best thing that my kids have given me, is that barometer of not good behavior, but of the right behavior, how to be a decent human being. And I learned that from them. Because
how old are they now?
My lad he's 17, and he's literally just got past me in height. So he's a broad, strapping 6'1", 17-year-old. And my daughter is 14, and she's just discovering herself, I suppose, in terms of, finding herself and finding her lane. He found his lane quite early. He was very sort of steadfast in the direction of travel in terms of his sort of career choices, his educational choices, whereas Ella has been just, I won't say taken time, but has got different influences and different expectations. As a young woman, there are very different expectations compared to a young man. So it's been lovely and fascinating and empowering to sort of spend time with her in the last sort of couple of years, and really sort of see her develop and grow into the wonderful young woman that she's turning out to be. So yeah, they're of an age now where they see everything, they hear everything. You might thinking they're not watching, but they do not miss a trick.
No, they don't.
And that's brilliant for me, because it keeps me in check. And it makes me very, very self-aware of how I behave around them, how I speak, the manner in which I speak. So yeah, my auntie once said to me, every day you are on a stage. And she was a performer. She was a theatrical performer. And I was like, what do you mean? She went, even when you get on the train or get on the bus or you go to the shops, people will be watching you. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're on a stage. So when you're on that stage, why don't you give the performance of your life? I went, what, every day? She went, every day. Because if you do that every single day, you'll never look back in life and go, if only, or what if I'd done this? So I see my kids as my most attentive and most important audience, and therefore I want to make sure that I deliver my best performance for them. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes you might miss a line, trip over a prop, but ultimately my job is to make sure that I give them the best, I suppose, the best education, the best nurturing, the best encouragement. And I occasionally give them some of my coaching techniques and tips, or as they call it, the black magic. So,
well, and I got to tell you, and by the way, we need to take a break, but when we come back from this break, and by the way, also, I have to tell everybody, Burchelle was going to be here, and she's our co-host. She's under the weather today, and I'm so sorry that she couldn't, because she would be thoroughly enjoying this conversation. But we're talking with Simon Calderbank, and go to his website, which, by the way, is, sir?
It is bignose.co.uk, and that's spelled BIG with a hyphen KNOWS.co.uk.
Perfect. And we need to take this quick break, and we'll come back. I got a quick story about a guy that his name is Neil Donald Walsh, and I just want to relay this real quickly because it fits with what we're talking about, and we'll be right back.
You became a real estate agent for freedom, success, and real momentum. So why are you still stuck waiting for closings to save you? I'm Ophir Adar, founder of Real Momentum, and I help agents like you become seven-figure earners. My first client that I coached, brand new agent, made $250,000 back in 2006. What's the secret? You feed your white wolf. That's the part of you that's bold and unstoppable and a closer and able to build rapport quickly. So click Get Listings at Real Momentum and let's unleash your real estate potential.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and Simon Calderbank is here. And Simon, because you were saying that you're a coach and that you work really hard, and I got 2 points to make. The first of one is that when you walked away from being doing the consulting work and doing the things that you were doing for businesses, your children were very young.
Yeah.
And so that was a real decision that you had to make, and a real heartfelt decision, because most people would say, and I'm sure people in your world said, Simon, you've got young kids. You can't start a coaching career. Why don't you wait until they're older? And I don't know if that happened, but it happens to a lot of us. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, people did question my decisions. Having gone from the work that we did, also just to kind of put context to this, me and the mum, so my wife at the time, we were kind of heading towards if you can call a divorce an amicable divorce. The kids weren't aware of this, so there was lots of decisions kind of looming, and the career change was driven by my ability or the opportunity to reflect. And as you reflect, you spend time in the same location. Of course, I was kind of housebound, and me and my ex-wife realized that our time had come. Our journey was over. So that was, again, another decision that needed to be taken. So I suppose it all kind of came at once.
That's quite a period right there.
Yeah, it was. It was a notable 12 months. And to say it was amicable, cordial. We just realized that we'd both, I suppose, we'd fallen out of love. We'd got two wonderful children. And as we positioned it to the kids, we said, we used to be a family of 4, and now we're going to be 2 families of 3. And my son just kind of didn't eye roll. He just went, oh, my daughter's words were really poignant. She said, all right, then, does that mean we get 2 Christmases? Exactly. So only my daughter.
A smart child, that
beautiful. And of course it was very sad and very distressing. But yeah, we went our separate ways. So not only was I changing business, and I'd run the consultancy business with Sarah. She was sort of the back of house in the business. So I was sort of splitting the business from her, also literally shifting dial in terms of the direction of travel, and also leaving a family. And that was challenging. And I remember when I was with my mentor, Michael, and it was he who'd kind of given me this vision of, I suppose, of what was in front of me and the decisions that I could take. And I said, look, maybe isn't the right time now for me to start a new career path and to be a coach. I said, I've never ever coached anybody. I've listened to people. I've got big ears, broad shoulders, etc. And I said, I'm going through a divorce, so maybe now isn't the time. It was a perfect time. I was all, how can it be a perfect time to start a new career working with you as a mindset coach? He said, the things I'll teach you, he said, will only help you identify, who you are and where you've come from. He said, it'll also help your ex-wife to be, and it'll also help your kids. And I went, how on earth do you know that? He said, I've been doing this for 35 years. I'm fully aware of the impact that what I teach you can have, so long as you apply it and utilize it. So I trusted him. I'd only known him 3 or 4 months, but something within me told me that this was the right thing to do. So I followed it, and I dived in with both arms, both feet, and a full head. And my head was, how can I put it? It exploded with what I learned. Like when people say, oh, I've had a light bulb moment. I was having light bulb moments every 15, 20 minutes for 7 days. It was a 7-day program I suppose, for me to deep dive into the world of positive psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy. And all the questions that I'd remained unanswered in my head for years were being answered constantly. I would get home and I would be frazzled. I've never been exhausted like that before. And all I did was sit in a room and listen. It was almost like my own transformation. And he was right. It helped me understand me. It helped me understand how to navigate through a divorce. It helped me out to understand how to circumnavigate with the kids from not living with them and, being a distant dad. It was unbelievable. It really was. It was as if he'd known that. He was almost like he was guiding me to be the person that I am today. And interestingly, our relationship had lasted probably a couple of years because his business model went down a different path. But he said, what I've given you now is an opportunity for you to go and serve other people. He said, so you use it for good and pay it forward. And I went, okay. He said, you'll be fine. He said, you've got everything you need now. Now it's up to you to go and bring in the people that you can help. He said, my work is done. So it's like the Messiah. I've seen him for 7 or 8 years. Occasional chit chats online, but it's rare. He said, look, my work is done. I've passed on. Now it's up to you to go and deliver that. And yeah, it was like being given the keys to another kingdom. It was incredible. And I look back now and think, would I even be here if I'd not made those decisions? Probably, but what version of me would it have been? And I'm so pleased that I'm not pleased that I had to leave 2 children and a marriage, but it was the right thing to do. Even though it was hard and it was painful, it was the right thing to do, not just for me, but also for them. And I'd like to think now that our children are grounded. Are they ever settled? But they're happy. They're happy, they're fulfilled, and they've got 2 parents who are happy and fulfilled in their own lives now. So I think that for me is great. There's no animosity. We come together at birthdays, etc. Funerals. So there's a respect, which I'm really pleased about, because that means that we're teaching the kids that even when people fall out of love, it doesn't mean they can't still be, amicable and respectful to each other. So yeah, I've learned so much in the last 10 years. This decade has been like the decade of decisions and the decade of change and the decade of progress. So yeah, Michael, I owe you one.
And I firmly believe that he came into your life at the time that he came into your life because it was predestined. That's when he was going to be there. He was there at the right time. He helped you launch yourself, and then he exited stage left.
Yeah,
And
and that's what he did, Kevin. He did that with quite a lot of people like me. It was almost as if he had so much to give, and he wanted this big collective of coaches and trainers, and it just never kind of happened as he wanted it to be in terms of that collective, almost like him leading a team of associates, you know, on this merry dance throughout the world, you know, almost like you know, he wanted to help change 1 million lives. And I was like, yeah, I'm up for that. Why not? I'm up for that. But
of course,
it never happened. It never quite happened as it wanted. I mean, obviously the world turned. We had, you know, lockdown. There was recession. There was the perfect storm. But what happened is that all the people that were on the program that I was on originally, you know, have all gone on, like me, to be successful in their own way. And I think that's wonderful. So even though it didn't kind of map out how we all wanted it to, it's mapped out well for all those people because they all applied all the learnings that he gave us. And we basically practice what we preach. So therefore, you know, and that for me is the ultimate compliment is people say to me, well, you've got no qualifications. I well, I don't need qualifications to be a good coach. What I need is success stories from customers. So that's my qualification. The people who've transformed because of spending time with me and me sharing other people's stories and my story. So I've been through the program. I know it works. I'm living proof that this works if you apply it. And that's the only qualification I need is that proof that if you apply anything, if you practice and you believe in it, change will come.
well, and I'll tell you this: it didn't work out like he, in his human form and his human mind, was thinking that he would like it to work out, that he would have a bunch of associates, and that he'd be the guru, and you would do 1 million people and all that kind of stuff. But what he did do was to give you the confidence and the ability, as it should be, to take it for yourself, to do for yourself, and your vision is your vision.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be somebody else's vision. Do you agree?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was Michael's vision. It was always, I mean, he was, interestingly, I'd heard about this guy for years and never actually got to one of his keynote speeches or one of his, you know, motivational sessions. And the only time I met him was when I knew my marriage was over. And I remember getting the train from the Lake District in England down to Manchester on a beautiful sunny day. And normally I'm really upbeat. It's the one time I didn't want to be around people because of what I was going through. And the person who invited me said, look, if you don't like it, at least it's at the cricket ground. You can just go and stand on balcony and you can look out on the pitch. And I was all, yeah, fair enough. Nothing. It's a day out. And I sat at the back, didn't want to see anybody. There's about 150 people in there. I had no interest in being there, but I was there, I suppose, out of courtesy, but maybe subconsciously out of, let's say, that predestination. I'm thinking, well, actually, this might do me good. But my conscious mind was going, get me out of here. Don't want to be here. And this guy bounded onto stage after his introduction. I just went, oh, God, this is going to be hell. Within 30 seconds, I was the guy, hand up, I was waving. I became his groupie because everything he said, it's as if he shone a light into my mind, and everything he talks about, I do that. That's me. It's as if our frequencies just tuned in to the point where afterwards I made a beeline for him in the sort of the buffet queue and said, I'd never do this normally. He said, I know what you're going to say. I went, yeah, but he said, you really enjoyed that. I went, that's an obvious one. He went, you want to work with me, don't you? I was all, what? I've heard all about you. I was all, how? He went, him over there. And him over there was the person who invited me. He said, you and I should meet. So I'm glad you made a beeline for me because I wasn't going to make a beeline for you. I'm going, is this all part of the act? He said, no act. No act. He said, something inside of you has clicked. So he said, let's meet up and let's discuss it further. And then off he walked with his chicken buffet. And I was like, just dumbfounded, thinking, I felt like it was like a setup, but it wasn't. It's just I've been searching for something. I didn't know it was him, but I went there. I didn't have to go there. I went there for a reason, because I wasn't fulfilled. And I can see it now in walking off. I'm going, I've just met you. It's like, it was like there was a bond. It was bizarre. And that was the start of the journey, I suppose, the adventure of a lifetime.
That's
Brilliant.
exactly what it is. And then he recognized, either consciously or unconsciously, that it was time for him to step aside, and that he'd given you everything that he could give you, and now it was time for you to fly on your own.
Yeah,
to do your thing.
Yeah, and that was hard, because it was like, oh shit, I've got no wings, I've got nothing. What have I got? Right, I've got all this knowledge. Right, what do I do with it? Where do I go? And then someone said, before all this stuff, what were you really good at? I was all there. And he said, getting people to buy from you. I went, oh yeah. He said, so why don't you marry those two sides of your world, the business development person, the salesperson, and marry it with the person that you are now? He said, surely, if you helped other people to get customers, surely you finding customers should be a piece of cake. And it was all, oh God, yeah. So it's as if I kind of I'd forgotten all the stuff I'd learned for like 35 years. I was all, oh yeah. So then all I did was applied all my own knowledge to this new business. And yeah, and then I thought, oh yeah. And it again, the penny dropped. And then I just applied. So,
and it works because, and by the way, when we come back, I want to talk about this because I think it's really important, is that all the experiences in your life and all the things that you gained and all the jobs that you had and all the things that you learned, you were then going to be able to apply it. And it was all predestined that you did all of those things to put you in a position to where you could do it, because now you can help more people because of your background and getting out there and doing it. And that's the important part. So we'll be right back. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk, and we've got a great guest for you today. He's all the way in merry old England, and Simon Calderbank is here. He's a coach. He's got a website, and give us your website again, sir, since you say it so much better than I do.
Oh, thank you. www.big-nose, and that's spelled knows.co.uk.
And, right there on the front of your website, it's a great picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Ever wondered what you could achieve with a positive mindset or a positive leadership mindset? And I think a lot of people wonder that, but they don't really know what to do with that information once they have the question in mind, because they don't really know what a positive mindset or a positive leadership mindset is. What is that?
I suppose it's whatever you want it to be.
Oh, isn't that?
Yeah, I think it's the ability to, I suppose, respond positively to whatever life throws at you. And life throws curveballs daily, hourly for some people. I mean, you talk about our friend Samuel over in Kenya, those kids in the slums, wonder what mindset they've got. But does it take someone like Samuel, who obviously wants to, I suppose, pull them out from that life that they lead? How does he do that? What makes him want to do that? He's probably not got a negative mindset. He's got a practical mindset, but it sounds to me like he's got a very positive mindset as well. And he wants to serve those kids and enable them and give them opportunities and choices and maybe chances. Their context is very different to the world that I live in. But I suppose the principles are the same. How we respond to situations is how we are determined. And when I was younger, if I go back to my sort of 30s and 40s, I was so much more cynical, skeptical. I was still me, but it was a version of me that felt a bit tainted. And I wouldn't sneer, but I would always have a bit of a negative leaning, as in, woe is me, and why haven't I done this, or why can't I have that? And, that mindset didn't really serve me well. So the things I thought about were more leaning to, if we use a Star Wars analogy, the dark side. And I suppose my dark side thinking then created a dark set of beliefs, and my attitude was a bit, sort of wavered. But emotionally, I was unstable. I was angry, frustrated. Yeah, I'd have happy moments, but I always felt there was never really a clear direction about where I was. And I just thought that's how I was always going to be. And it wasn't until I learned that basically that we are what we think, we are what we eat, but we are what we consume in terms of what we watch, what we listen to. And that was my big realization. And a positive mindset for me is about having the ability to react impactfully to situations, put yourself in the shoes of other people, demonstrate your empathy, your emotional intelligence, and understand that, life will deal you a bad hand, but yet how you respond to it is what will make or break you. And that was the key advice that I was given is, be careful of what you wish for, because it's likely to come true. So I thought, okay then. So if I wish for good things, if I think good things, if I tell myself positive things more than negative things, that means that it doesn't mean that if I want to make money, I'm going to get money. But it means I'll go about my life in a much more comfortable, happier, fulfilled way. So that's what I did. I started giving myself positive affirmations. And I mean on a daily basis, regularly. I would tell myself things, all the things I wanted to be, or all the things I am that I wanted to be even more condensed at. So I learned that from a self-help book from about 25 years ago, The Power of Mantras. Didn't know how they worked, didn't know why they worked. All I knew was that they seemed to work. So I just kept applying them. I kept doing it. And then it's only till I sort of studied the CBT and the positive psychology that I realized that there was a science behind it. And repetition is the mother of all skills, which is what I learned. So a positive mindset is a choice. We all have a choice, whether we decide to think positively or think negatively. And people go, oh, it sounds dead easy. And say, well, it is. I'm living proof that you can change the way you think. And am I richer? No, not at all. Am I happier? Massively. Am I more fulfilled? Hugely. Am I at peace with myself? 100%. All because I chose to change the way I think about the world and the way I think about me. And I needed someone to, I suppose, help me understand that. And that was Michael and many other people, not just him, but my parents and my auntie and my sister and my family, friends, my partner. We have lots of influences in our lives. And what was it what someone said? You are the sum of the 5 or 6 people closest to you? So I suppose it's, you said be careful what you wish for, be careful who you surround yourself with as well. So
Yes, absolutely true. And it also matters how you talk to yourself. And as an example, if I would implore everybody to get rid of these words, I can't. Because you know what? If you say I can't, you're absolutely right. You'll never achieve what you want if you say, I can't do that. Well, you're right, you can't. But if you say, I can do that, I can do anything. And can you do anything like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if you're a songwriter, but you're in England. So Paul McCartney's a great songwriter. He's been doing that for, 60 years. Can you be as good as Paul McCartney? Maybe not. But can you have a happy life and to play music the way you want to? If you choose to, you can do that. And that isn't that why we're here. I don't know that having enough money or having a lot of money makes a whole lot of difference. As long as you can take care of your basic needs and you live fairly simply, then it's
doesn't it? Having money gives you choices.
Yeah.
Having more money might give you the choices, but ultimately, does it make you happier? Might make some people happier. If I have money, I just
only in the short term. Because then eventually they figure out, okay, I've got the car, I've got the young new wife, I've got the big house. Why am I not any happier than I was before when we were in a 2-bedroom apartment and the other woman there, my former wife that I loved, and so why am I more happy because I've got a lot of money? But some people don't make that connection until it's way too late.
Yeah, and it's about, for me, the extrinsic motivators are fine. And, it's wonderful when you land that big project and it's a big payout and you think that's brilliant. But say it doesn't last. There's enough research out there to say that bonuses and commissions are short-lived in terms of the dopamine hit that you get from it. Intrinsic values and intrinsic drivers are what really wake people up. And it was, I suppose, me discovering what mine were, which gave me that sense of calm and peace and fulfillment, and realizing that someone said to me, said, oh, so when you retire, and I was all, I'll just stop you there. I said, even when I retire, well, we all retire, don't we? I said, well, retirement's a choice. I said, I respect people who want to retire. I said, I've got no desire to retire. Why not? Because I love what I do. I said, I'll retire when people say it's no longer enjoyable working with you, the experience isn't there, or when I physically or mentally am unable to do it. It doesn't mean I'll work every single day, because I've got a wonderful partner who's probably watching this. In fact, I know she's watching this in the other room. Hi, Di. And I've got 2 children, teenagers that, I want to spend time with. And my mum and dad are, they're probably entering the final chapter of their life. So, there are other priorities that I want to prioritize. But that desire within me, that innate desire to want to serve people and help people, and that's my fuel. That is the fuel that drives me. And if you take that away from me, I'll have love, and I'll have being a dad, and but that for me is a real driver for me, is seeing other people who think that everything's over, they can't survive, they can't make decisions, they can't bring themselves to be unstuck, as one client says, or clear the crap, or just, make decisions or get themselves heard. I just think, right, I can help. I can help you to help yourself, because I've heard this story before, and there's 2 different endings, and I can give you the choice of which ending you can take. And sometimes people are dubious, doubtful about what they're going to let themselves in for. But when they experience the transformation and go, oh my God, I knew it's always been there, hasn't it? Yeah, the answers you were looking for are within you. You just need someone like me to be able to, I suppose, give you the key to the right door.
And I'm willing to bet, Simon, that when you are doing a session with somebody and you're doing a coaching thing with them, and you're introducing your program and all of the things you do, that I'm willing to bet that there's a moment in time when the light comes on in their eyes and you can see it, and that is really energizing to you, because that's the exchange that you've been looking for and that you're hoping to give them, and they're hearing it and they're seeing it, and it's very gratifying to you, and it's probably very energetically motivating and satisfying for you. Am I right?
Yeah, that's the currency. The transformation or the light bulb is the currency. That's the magic moment. That is that silver bullet, and it's wonderful. And even since lockdown, all my work primarily now is through this platform, is online. And people said it's not the same, and I was all, trust me, it's the same. It's the same person, it's the same content, you're the same. All that's different is the environments that we both find ourselves in. And what I've noticed is that people are more comfortable opening up and being vulnerable when they're online, because they're in a safe space. They're in a space that's theirs, and I'm in my space. And the brain still thinks we're having a social engage, even though we're not in the same room. So I find that people are more comfortable to share, and women are so much more comfortable to share their vulnerabilities. Women are more comfortable to be uncomfortable in a one-to-one scenario. That's my experience, which is why I'm more drawn to support women leaders, because they're more accessible and more open to give, because they want to receive, they want to understand what it is that's holding them back. So yeah, those moments and sometimes those transformations, they can take weeks. When I say weeks, I mean, like maybe 7 or 8 or 9 sessions. And then sometimes you can get the transformation in the first hour. And honestly, it's almost as if someone's done that, boom, and they go, that's it, isn't it? I'm all, yeah, that's it. And they're all, have you done that? Was all, I haven't done anything. Yeah, but I haven't done anything. All I've done is ask you a series of questions, and you found the answers. I've just asked the questions that no one else has asked you. So what we ask people and the questions that we ask ourselves are crucial. Sometimes we can ask ourselves the wrong questions, which then means that we get in our own way, because we're taking ourselves down the wrong path. So what we say, again, you go before about that self-talk, what we say to ourselves can make or break us. So therefore, if it doesn't work, don't keep repeating the same pattern, change the question. And when you change the question, guess what? You'll get a different response. When you change, other people change. So when you change your own internal narrative, everything else starts to change with it. It's easy. But people go, no, it doesn't work. It does work. It can't work. It can work. We can create any habit that we want. We've been doing it all our lives, and people go, I can't make new habits. Okay, then. So all the habits you've got now, then, did you buy them? That's rubbish. But did you buy them? No, you formed them. So if you've done all these habits, some are good, some maybe not so good. That therefore means that you can actually do the process under guidance, knowing the science behind it and the neurological patterns that are happening, and you can do it like that. Can I? Yes, you can. And then that's the moment of, oh, right. And then you see them the following week. How's it been? Oh my God, everything's different. What have you done then? What's changed? The way I think, the questions I ask myself, how I talk to myself, even my partner's recognizing I'm showing up differently. And what's that feel like? It's amazing. Right then, you should be a marriage guidance counselor. It's human relationship counselor. That's all. If I've got a good relationship with myself now. I didn't used to, but now I have. And once I'm at peace with myself, once I can love myself and show myself compassion, therefore I can show other people compassion. If you don't love yourself, I don't mean that I mean that in a very authentic way. Self-love is the most important love. Because once you can self-love, then you can love other people. And that's what I teach people, is the power of self-love is incredible. Self-image, people call it. A lot of people loathe themselves. It's like, right.
Yep.
So their internal belief systems are mangled. And I just think I can help. I can help, because guess what? I've walked where you're walking now, and it's not a good place. It's a one-way ticket to disaster, and you'll bring other people with you. So surely you'd want to realize that there was another path you can take, or another door you could open. It'll be uncomfortable, but after a while, you'll find your place, and you'll think, God, thank God for that. So yeah, that's it, Kevin. Not that's it, but that's a great place to start, is people's belief systems.
And one of the things is, and I need to play this real quick. It's our last break, but one of the things is, if you're going to be kind to people, start being kind to yourself first, and things will fall into place. We'll be right back. Listen to this. I love your opinion, Simon. The strength of staying kind from your friends at Positive Talk Radio. Kindness is not weakness. It takes real strength to stay kind in a world that often rewards anger, ego, and control. Being kind means choosing to act from your values, not your wounds. It means showing grace even when no one's watching. But kindness doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people take advantage of your time, your energy, or your peace. You can be kind and still say no. You have a soft heart with firm boundaries. The strongest people I know are the ones who choose compassion without losing themselves. They've been hurt. They've been tested. And still, they choose to love and lead and to lift others anyway. Kindness is not about pleasing everybody. It's about honoring who you are and how you treat others, even when it's hard. So stay kind, stay human, and stay strong. And always remember this: be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. And what do you think?
Love it. Being a decent human being is so underrated. I'm a big believer in that. But that is, when that clip came on, again, I've been away for a couple of weeks. I've back home or back in the office today, and I've had a bit of a rejig, and I've moved things. Basically, I've created a nice tidy space, and I found a quote that someone I'd got to know online had sent me, and it's a quote by. Can I read it out, Kevin?
Please.
It's by Leo Buscaglia, and it is: too often we underestimate the power of a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. And I found that today, and I'm thinking, I'm going to have that. Literally, it's just underneath my laptop.
And there it was.
And there you are with kindness is everywhere, and yet a lot of people seem to turn away from it. And yet kindness is free.
And, kindness, Simon, it can be something as simple as the checkout at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Smiling at the person who's been on their feet for 9 or 10 hours a day, and they're getting all kinds of people that are not even talking to them, just being kind to them, that can change their whole day. I was a bus driver for 12 years, and I could change the attitude of the entire bus by my attitude and how I treated people. I could make it a positive experience or a negative experience. It was my choice.
Yeah.
And when I chose to make it a positive experience, then that affected the energy of the entire bus. It was the most remarkable thing I'd ever seen.
Well, when I was a young boy, I wanted to be a bus driver when I grew up. And someone said, why? I went, because it means I can help people. I can get people from A to B, and I can make them happy. A bus driver, I went, I'll be the happiest bus driver there is. Wow. I was 7 years old when I came out with that great learning. I'll be the happiest bus driver there is.
Congratulations. That was just awesome.
Thank you.
That was really, and then that's the thing. Anything we do in life, we can choose to do it with a positive attitude or with a negative attitude, and it's totally self-inflicted. Either way, you can be really positive all the time.
It's a choice, and we have a choice. And I think a lot of people have lost sight of that. And again, they'll have their own reasons and there'll be context, and I'm very respectful of that. But sometimes when you give that opening to people, can I do that? It's almost as if they've forgotten. And that, for me, that's sad. That's disappointing. And it's how do we, I suppose, how do we shift the dial back to people that are aware that it doesn't have to be like this? And that doesn't mean that, say, that money is going to float down and be stuck. It just means that they have a choice about how they think. And it's powerful when the people realize that. It's, because when they change their thinking, as you said, everything else changes with it. Belief systems start to change. Emotions start to change. It doesn't mean you always live in that sort of light, positive side. It means you'll move back and forth. But what it probably does mean, though, is that you'll probably spend more time in that positive space than you will in that negative space. It just means you readdress the balance. And the more we can get people to realize that and implement that and act on that, the world will be, it might not be a happier place, but boy, it'll be a more hospitable place. Where acceptance is,
with absolutely, without a doubt. And Simon, by the way, Simon Calderbank is our guest, and he's a coach, and he's a mindset coach, and he can help you, and he does it now remotely, so he can go anywhere in the world. And so you can. So what I'd like you to do, Simon, if you would not mind, sir, is to take the next couple of moments, tell us again your website, and then explain to our audience what you do and how you can help them become who they really are in the grandest version of the best vision of whoever they think they'd like to be. And they can do that. But sometimes, well, more than sometimes, it takes a coach. It takes somebody who can ask the right questions, because then it makes you think in a different way. And so Simon, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. High floor. So my website is www.bignose, and that's big-knows.co.uk. You can also find me on LinkedIn. So just type in Simon Calderbank, the name you can see on the screen. That's where I spend most of my online time. So you'll see lots of posts, videos, my thoughts, my opinions. You'll also get to know the real me, as in the person behind the big nose. So I do a lot of fitness racing, and my life is very open, and I share that quite happily to the LinkedIn community. And for those people who are listening, for those people who have enjoyed this conversation with Kevin, because I've certainly enjoyed it. I can't believe we're both bus drivers in a different world. That's blown my head off. I've written quite a few, I saw short books. When I say short books, ebooks. So if people have found this of use and are interested in how they can maybe switch to a more positive mindset, I wrote a little ebook called In Search of a Positive Mindset. And one woman who read it, and just I had it down here somewhere. Yeah. Jane, I won't say a second, but Jane said, everyone should have this by their bedside. So it's a little simple 6-pager, and in there are my thoughts around what a positive mindset is, how you can create one, and it's full of tips and techniques that have served me well and have served hundreds and thousands of other people well as well. So I suppose the best thing to do would be to reach out, find me, talk to me, and you can get a download of that, and it might just make a difference. It might just give you the change in perspective that you're looking for. And if it's not for you, you might know somebody who might think, I could just do with a shift. And I say, it's a 10-15 minute read, and I know it helps me, and I know it's helped all the people who've read it and enjoyed it and have utilized it and implemented its learnings. So
and they can go to your website to pick up that book. Yes,
the website, or just contact me on LinkedIn, and I can quite easily just send you a DM and send it across, and then see what you think. It's helped so many people, and it's on me. That's me paying it forward.
Oh, thank you so much for doing that. And I really appreciate that. Simon Calderbank has been our guest today. And say hello to the love that you have that's sitting in the other room watching, and I hope that she enjoyed it.
Diane, you know you're the best. And I'm so pleased that we found each other. And I am delighted that we are together. And I can't wait to spend the rest of our lives having fun and just generally, how can I put this in a nice English way, taking the mickey out of each other for all the right reasons. So you're one in a million, Di, and you're my Di, and I'm so pleased that we are together.
Again, Simon Calderbank has been our guest. He's a special human being. You should contact him. And especially if you feel in your life like you're at a crossroads and that you're a little lost and you don't know where to turn, Simon can give you a direction, at least something to think about. Because a lot of times we don't even know the questions that we need to be asked in order to get to the place we want to go. And so he can kind of set you on that path so that you can then accomplish whatever you want to do in life. And that is just so true. And I've gone over time. So Simon, thank you so much for being here.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been wonderful getting to know you, and I hope Rochelle is feeling better.
Well, you're going to have to come back so that she can be here, because she really wanted to have the interview with you. But sometimes, things get in the way. So
okay, I wish you well.
I just did, and I will again. So thank you, Simon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin.